Warren Buffett is a name the entire world associates with wealth, wisdom, and a kind of quiet financial mastery that feels almost ancient. You hear about billionaires all the time, but Warren Buffett is different. He didn't build rockets, he didn't create a tech empire, he didn't go viral on social media, and he never lived a flashy life. And yet, he became one of the richest humans to ever walk this planet. How? Not by chasing every new trend, not by rushing, not by panicking, and not by gambling. He grew his wealth slowly, steadily, patiently, and wisely. And the most interesting part, his mindset is something anyone can learn from because it isn't based on extreme talent or insane risk. It's based on understanding yourself and understanding the world in a very calm, grounded way. Today, I want to talk to you like a mentor would, not hyping you up and not pushing you around, just sharing wisdom, the kind of wisdom Warren Buffett built his entire life on. Because when you understand how a man like him thinks, everything about your financial life, your emotional reactions to money, and your long-term vision begins to transform. And the transformation doesn't start with strategies, it starts with how you see things. So let's walk through the Buffett mindset together, slowly, gently, deeply, and by the end, you'll feel like you just sat in a quiet room with one of the calmest money minds alive. Warren Buffett grew up during a time when the world was changing fast. He was born in 1930, in the middle of the Great Depression. People were losing jobs, losing homes, losing hope, but Warren wasn't focused on fear. He was fascinated by numbers, by businesses, by patterns. As a young boy, he bought packs of Coca-Cola and sold each bottle for a profit. He collected used golf balls and resold them. He delivered newspapers. He learned early that money is a tool, not a drama. It's not something to be scared of. It's something to understand, and that's the foundation of everything he would become. There's a story people love repeating. Warren Buffett bought his first stock at age 11, and when the price dropped, he panicked and sold too early. That mistake burned into his memory. It taught him patience. It taught him discipline. It taught him something most adults never learn. The world rewards the patient. When he later said, "The stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient," he wasn't being poetic. He was speaking from childhood experience. But what makes Buffett special isn't that he bought stocks early. Plenty of people do that. What makes him different is the way he thinks. He sees money not as a number, but as a relationship, a long-term relationship. When he invests, he imagines owning that decision for the rest of his life. He's not asking, will this go up next week? He's asking, will this still matter in 20 years? Imagine making financial decisions with that kind of patience. Imagine how much stress would disappear from your life if you didn't feel the need to rush. Buffett once said, "You can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant." That's one of the most famous sentences he's ever spoken. And it's completely true. Some outcomes simply cannot be rushed. You can't rush wisdom, you can't rush wealth, you can't rush mastery, you can't rush compounding. Everything meaningful grows slowly, quietly, and invisibly before it becomes obvious, but we live in a world where people want quick money, fast success, overnight breakthroughs, instant fame, and those desires destroy more financial futures than bad decisions do. Buffett didn't become a billionaire in his 20s or 30s or even 40s. Most of his wealth came after the age of 60. Think about that. The majority of his fortune happened late in life. Why? Because compounding doesn't reward the clever, it rewards the consistent. And that's something most people never understand. They chase shortcuts, but Buffett quietly kept going 1 year at a time, letting compounding do what compounding does best, turn small things into enormous things. Now let's talk about one of Buffett's most powerful beliefs. Never lose money. People quote this all the time, but misunderstand it completely. Buffett doesn't mean never take risks. He means never take a risk you don't understand. He only moves into areas where his understanding is deep and his confidence is calm. When he looks at an opportunity, he asks, is this within my circle of competence? If it's outside, he simply says no. He says no to thousands of things. That's one of his greatest strengths, the ability to say no, to decline, to ignore, to wait. In a world where everyone chases everything, Buffett's wisdom is built on choosing almost nothing. And that's why his choices compound. He isn't scattered, he's focused. Imagine how your life would change if you stopped saying yes to everything. If you stopped jumping from idea to idea. If you focus deeply on only the opportunities you truly understand. You'd make better decisions, you'd waste less time, you'd protect your money, and you'd slowly build something stable. One of the most important things Buffett ever learned came from his mentor, Benjamin Graham. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. That one sentence shaped Buffett's entire worldview. The average person chases price. They see something going up and they jump in. They see something going down and they panic. But Buffett doesn't care about price. He cares about value, the long-term value, the real underlying worth. And because he focuses on value, he's able to stay calm when others are emotional. He doesn't panic when the world panics. He doesn't get greedy when the world gets greedy. He stays grounded in reality. Imagine you saw a house you truly loved, and the market suddenly priced it lower for a few months. Would you suddenly think the house has become bad? No, the house didn't change, only the price did. That's how Buffett sees businesses. Their prices move up and down, but their value remains based on fundamentals, not hype. That's the difference between investors and speculators. Speculators react, investors observe, speculators panic, investors breathe, speculators chase, investors wait. One of the greatest lessons from Buffett isn't about money at all, it's about emotions. He says, if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. That sentence alone can save someone from a lifetime of financial mistakes. Most financial destruction comes from emotional reactions. Fear makes you sell too early. Greed makes you buy too late. Impatience makes you take shortcuts. Pride makes you ignore warnings. And ego makes you take risks to impress people you don't even like. But Buffett is the opposite. He doesn't race. He doesn't brag. He doesn't flex. He doesn't care about impressing anyone. That's why he's so free. Emotional stability is his real wealth, and emotional stability is something anyone can build, no matter where they start. The calmer you are, the stronger you become. The calmer you are, the better your decisions get. The calmer you are, the more clearly you can see opportunities that everyone else is too emotional to recognize. Now let's talk about his lifestyle. You would expect one of the richest people in the world to live in the flashiest houses, drive the most expensive cars, wear the fanciest clothes, but Buffett still lives in the modest Omaha home he bought decades ago. He eats simple food, he wears simple clothes, he drives simple cars. Why? Because to him, luxury is not the goal, freedom is. He once said, the happiest people do not necessarily have the best things, they just appreciate the things they have. Wealth to him isn't measured by consumption, it's measured by independence. The ability to control your own time, your own decisions, your own life. He values relationships over riches. He values integrity over income. He values learning over luxury. And that's why people trust him. That's why companies want him. That's why billions flow to him. Trust compounds just like money. Reputation grows just like investments. And Buffett has spent a lifetime protecting his reputation like a priceless asset. One of the quiet truths about Warren Buffett is that he doesn't try to be the smartest man in the room. He tries to be the most rational, the most patient, the most consistent. He believes that temperament matters more than intelligence. You can be brilliant and still make terrible decisions if your emotions are wild. But if you are calm, steady, and thoughtful, even if you're average, you will outperform. Buffett's success isn't built on genius, it's built on temperament. And here's something else people forget. Warren Buffett didn't do it alone. He spent decades working side by side with Charlie Munger. His lifelong partner and friend Munger helped sharpen Buffett's thinking. Together, they built Berkshire Hathaway into a fortress of wisdom, patience, and discipline. Their partnership teaches us something important. Surround yourself with people who make you think better, not people who make you think faster. People who slow down your mind, deepen your ideas, and strengthen your decisions. As Buffett once said, hang out with people better than you, and you cannot help but become better yourself. Imagine applying that one principle to your life. Imagine what happens when you surround yourself with wise minds instead of chaotic ones. Your perspective changes, your decisions improve, your patience increases, your future transforms. Buffett is also famous for his reading habits. He reads for hours every single day. He once said he tries to read 500 pages a day. Why? Because knowledge compounds. Every insight you gain becomes a tool you carry for the rest of your life. Learning is one of Buffett's greatest investments, and it's available to everyone. You don't need billions to read. You just need curiosity and consistency. 5 pages a day becomes thousands a year. One book becomes 50, and every page adds a layer of wisdom to your life. Buffett also believes in simplicity. He avoids complexity. He avoids hype. He avoids noise. He avoids anything that distracts him from clarity. He once said, the business schools reward difficult behavior more than simple behavior, but simple behavior is more effective. Simplicity is underrated, but the most successful people in the world think simply. They don't overcomplicate decisions. They don't drown in details. They focus on what truly matters. Imagine simplifying your financial life, cutting out unnecessary spending, avoiding emotional decisions, letting go of pressure to impress, focusing only on what builds your future. That's the Buffett path. He also believes deeply in delayed gratification. He doesn't chase fast money. He lets wealth grow over decades. He knows that time is the most powerful ingredient in any financial journey. The problem today is that most people don't want to wait. They want results instantly. But Buffett teaches us that instant results often lead to instant regret. The slow path builds the strongest foundation. Now, here's something that always surprises people. One of Warren Buffett's most important investments isn't a company, it's himself. He once said, "The best investment you can make is in your own skills. No market crash, no inflation, no economy can take away your knowledge. You can lose money and make it again, but if you lose skill, you lose everything." That's why Buffett focuses so much on learning, growing, improving, understanding. He treats his mind like a compounding asset. Imagine treating your mind like that. Imagine learning every day. Imagine building skills that make you valuable in any economy. That's the Buffett way. Let me tell you something even deeper. Warren Buffett doesn't fear recessions. He doesn't fear market crashes. He knows that every crash is simply a sale on long-term opportunities. While others panic, he waits calmly. And when prices fall, he buys. That's why he says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." That sentence isn't about aggression, it's about awareness. It means seeing what others can't because their emotions are blinding them. Imagine seeing opportunity during chaos. Imagine being calm when the world panics. Imagine having the discipline to wait for the right moment. That's what makes Buffett who he is. And perhaps the most beautiful part of Buffett's philosophy is his humility. Despite having a fortune so large it cannot be spent in multiple lifetimes, he plans to give away more than 99% of it because he doesn't measure life by money. He measures it by impact. He believes that if you are born into opportunity, you should help those who weren't. That's why he is respected, not just as a wealthy man, but as a wise man. So, what can you learn from Warren Buffett? More than you can imagine. You can learn to be patient, to be calm, to understand yourself, to avoid what you don't understand, to build slowly, to think long term, to protect your emotions, to simplify your decisions, to value relationships, to invest in yourself, to read more, to wait more, to trust compounding, to ignore noise, to stay humble, to build a life, not just a bank account. You see, wealth isn't about speed, it's about direction, it's about clarity, it's about discipline. Warren Buffett teaches us that you don't need to be extraordinary to build an extraordinary life. You just need to do ordinary things consistently for an unordinary amount of time. And that's something anyone can do. If you were sitting with Warren Buffett right now, he wouldn't tell you to chase quick money. He wouldn't tell you to gamble. He wouldn't tell you to stress. He would tell you to breathe, to think, to learn, to build slowly, to trust the process, to believe in compounding, to choose wisely, and above all, to stay calm, because calm minds build strong futures.